to the Foster Care Warrior, part of Project Foster Care. And I missed you last week. We had a massive family emergency about 45 minutes before the show was going to start. And I was just blessed that Irene and Lana came in and just took over like champs. So God bless them. And then God bless Rob for leading them and being so amazing, my producer, Rob. So I am so glad to be here today. I have had a rough week, but nothing's going to keep me down. I had to go pull out my own book. If Rob, you want to show them, to do a little friendly reminder. I wrote a book called Destination Hope. And I tell you, this week was one of those weeks where I was like, okay, I need to go get my own book and I need to reread it and look at all the things I've gone through. And so anyways, yeah, if you're interested in my book and finding hope, it's Destination Hope. You can find it on Amazon. But back to why we're here. I have my dear friend, I say partner in crime, Bruce Wagnitz here with us today. And we are just going to talk about all things leading into becoming a foster parent and what it's like, what it means to be a foster parent. Before we introduce Bruce and bring him on, I do want to really encourage you all and ask you all to go to the YouTube channel. You can easily go to projectfostercare.com and you will see right there the little link for YouTube. You're going to want to click on that. And then you subscribe. And it's super important that we get up to 1,000 subscribers, because then we will be able to get our own, it'll say YouTube / Project Foster Care. Right now it's YouTube / like 5,399 million, whatever. So find us on YouTube and share. Okay, now on to the show. I'm going to be bringing on my dear sweet friend, partner in crime, Bruce Wagnitz. Bruce, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it very much. I'm looking forward to talking with our foster parents and our people that are interested in foster care. It'll be a fun evening.
So Bruce, you are a man much like me. We have a lot of hats and we get involved in a lot of things for the kiddos. And so I had told you, I could do your introduction, but quite frankly, I don't think I could do it justice. So do you want to kind of let everybody know what you're doing and kind of who Brucey is?
Sure. Probably the thing I do most often is I run our Fields of Hope Foundation, which is based on pretty much mostly medical care when it comes to the foster kids, but it has delved out quite a bit and included a lot of other things into mentor programs and things like that. So I'm the board chairman of that foundation. I'm also the board chairman of something that's going to be coming at people that's really going to be new, and that's the National Schoolhouse for Theatrical Arts. And that's going to be a tremendous program. We're actually building a campus in New York City. And that campus is actually going to house 1,000 of our foster kids, and we're going to put them into a theatrical art program and an educational program using the theatrical arts from all 50 states. So and the territories, by the way, we're including the territories. So we're very excited about that program, and I'm also board chairman of that. And probably on 3 or 4 different groups and committees and boards. But those are the 2 major ones for me. That's where I spend most.
And you were a foster parent. So just so you guys can understand how Bruce and I met, it was like things were starting to unfold for my family and I, and for myself, as far as kind of the state of foster care, and things were being shown to me of all the different ways that it's shattered and where it's going wrong. And the way I met Bruce was about 3.5 years ago. My husband and I had found a little girl named Sage that was up for adoption. We'd been contacted that we were the perfect family for her. Would we be interested? And we absolutely were. And we already had a home study through our county. And the LA County was more than willing to work with them. But our county wouldn't share our home study. Right, Bruce? It was
absolutely. I remember it well, very well.
That that again is another topic for another day, but it was just like, what's happening? So Bruce and I became friends from that. And I started to learn more and more and more and more because of Bruce working in social services and being a foster parent for so long and all of that. So on to really the topic. And I really want to take this time to just really start educating you all and of, what even is foster care? What does it look like to be a foster parent? How do you become a foster parent? So I think we should start in kind of baby steps. And I want to start with, why do you want to become a foster parent? I mean, I think it's super important because some people have a misconception of what it is, or oh, it's going to be so dreamy. I'm going to become a foster parent and the kids are going to be like so happy to be with me, and I'm going to buy them presents and they're going to love my house and I'm going to cook for them and it's going to be great, and probably you really don't have a good understanding of foster care, because that's exactly what's not going to happen. And so if that's kind of your mindset, I hate to burst a bubble, but the children most of the time are not going to be grateful, no matter how wonderful your house is. And Rob, could you show me that again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was trying to get that myself.
Okay, great. Faith, hope, love.
Sounds amazing.
Sounds amazing. Oh, how cool. I'm sorry. See, I'm still learning all of this, guys. He's flashing stuff up in front of me. And yeah. Awesome. Faith, hope, love, Ruth. Sounds amazing. Okay. Hi. We're glad you're here. What a cool name. So Bruce, let's, a lot of people have the misconception of what foster care is going to be about. And I think one of the biggest things, as I was trying to say, was people think that the kids are going to come be with them and then automatically have this form of like gratitude. But that's the opposite usually, because why should they be grateful when they were denied just the very thing they should have been given, which was a safe home, safe environment? Right. A lot of times they're very angry. Bruce?
Yes, angry or subdued. You also get the subdued side that just want to crawl in a corner and hide. So, the anger, we always refer to it as a trauma point. Mm-hmm. The kids have gone through something that's very difficult and they have been taken from their home. Now, just the taking from their home, I always tell people, think about you sitting in your seat watching TV, mm-hmm. and somebody walks in your home and says, you're leaving right now and you're coming with me, and you have no choice.
And you don't understand why, because what's happening in your house is perfectly normal, because yes. That's what you've been living in. Before we delve too much into that, though, I know you and I both wanted to really kind of share really short. So you decide you want to be a foster parent. And mm-hmm. So you're going to go to either a county agent, or you're going to go to a private agency. There's different ways to become a foster parent. So if you're going direct with the county, you're going to go do all your training with them. You're dealing only with them. Then there's the private foster care agencies. Private foster care agencies, to me, in my opinion, offer you a little more support, a lot more support, but then you're dealing with more people. So it just kind of depends which way you want to go, but you would really want to look into that. So then you would take your training, which is, I don't know what, Bruce, roughly a couple of weeks, depending if you go like at night or if you're going on the weekends.
Right. You have MAP and you have PRIDE. There are two different directions and two different sources of training. And it can go up to about 12 weeks. A lot of them have extended to about 12 weeks now, which is actually good because there's a little more preparation. Yep. They need a lot of preparation to bring these kids in.
Yeah. So, and you want a lot of training, you guys, it's so important. And I'm going to do a whole episode on just the things the kids will say to you once they're in your home, so that I can actually help you avoid the whole deer caught in the headlights. Holy cow. What did they just say? So we're going to have so many good shows for you, but at any rate, so you're going to do your training. You're going to get fingerprinted, background check, fingerprinting. Then you will have to, once all that's done, you got your PRIDE training, fingerprinting, all of that. Then you will go ahead and, we had to do medical. I don't know if every county does that, but we actually had to go to our doctor in order to check our, medical and make sure we were all healthy and safe. And then from there, you will have someone come out and do what's called like a home study. They interviewed my children. Now, I know we were doing both getting a home study and, to do foster adopt, which now you have to do. They changed it. So everybody has to have that now. So they're going to even interview your children.
Yes.
And you really all need to have a talk about this, about if everybody's in, how they're feeling, because this is going to impact your family in ways you couldn't even be prepared for. Just bringing the amount of trauma you're bringing in, and making sure, again, another show, right, Bruce?
Yes.
The love and care of your family and the importance in that, because they are going to be enduring trauma too. So then once that's done, they come, they look at your house. There'll be a list of things you need to have done, right down to the temperature of your water, to have your windows,
refrigerator.
Oh, they'll check your fridge, and you can get written up if they come to the house and you're a foster parent. This was so embarrassing. I had like old ketchup. I think it was like a week or two expired, and I got written up for that when I was 26. I was a foster parent. Irene, thanks Bruce for being Shelly's guest this week. Hi Irene, we love you, miss you.
Yeah, thanks Irene. It was great last week. She was so good.
She's so pretty. I love her. I got written up for ketchup. Felt really good. Yeah. So, so they go through your fridge. You have to put locks on the cabinets. Yes. You can't have any of your in your washroom. You can't have any of the soap and detergents and any of that out. You have to have it all locked up. Everything has to be locked up. All your medications. So there's a lot. You'll have a list. There's a lot to learn in that. Yes. And then you're a foster parent. Boom. And then what would you do in preparing? What do you tell them? You get a call, Bruce.
Boy.
Get a call.
If you get that call, that first call, I think your heart drops about 18 feet. It's a scary introduction, because we always call it the first 24 hours. That first 24 to 48 hours is very key, and especially on the first one. So understanding everything that you've been told about the child. But the first thing I always did was I asked a lot of questions from the social workers. I wanted to know age, grade, schools, the reason they were put into care. Have they been disruptive in any way, or have other moves where they've been moved before? You want to be able to understand the school, and all these little things come into play when they're brought into foster care, for sure, into your family.
Hey, Bruce, we have a question from Mark Clark. It says, do they credit report and score for all adults in the house? I didn't have them run a credit report.
I did.
Okay.
I think it depends upon which state you're in, but we had to go through a full credit report on top of the FBI background check. And I think the reason for that is they want to make sure that you are able to, the first 6 weeks, generally don't get that check to help with the kids. And they want to make sure that you can handle being able to take care of them those first 6 weeks. And I always say I've spent more money in the first 3 days, on those kids.
I just had the baby. I took the baby last week, and because of, I think people kind of know I've had kind of a traumatic week, but if you don't, I have. And because of that, the little baby we took in had to unfortunately go, which I've never really had to do before. But I spent that night when he came $100. So I won't even recoup that. But he came with literally nothing. He came with a binky in his mouth and a onesie on. And that was it.
I have had several school-age kids, especially girls, who came with nothing and had to have a uniform for the next day to go to school. Mm-hmm. So you're out at 12 o'clock at night at a Walmart or something, trying to find
Walmart, Target.
Yes,
That's where
exactly. Thank goodness.
Right? Yeah, and I want to say also, I know for my agency, it actually can take up to 3 months before we see our first check.
Yeah.
So everybody's different, and I get a lot of questions from people asking me questions that are really state or county specific. And so unfortunately, that one of the issues with foster care is that it's each state is different, or as Irene told me, there is one set of rules, but it's subject to interpretation. So it's however those rules and regulations are being interpreted. And then, it's subject to each county is different. Okay, Faith Hope Ruiz, I'm becoming a foster parent. I'm very scared. I raised 4 kids and hope to be strong. The rooms are ready. Okay, that's awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, we're so happy. Thank you for being
Absolutely.
lawyer, and we're so here for you. And you're going to be great. It's going to be fine. You'll be fine. There'll be moments of really, really hard times, but you know what the plus thing is? You got us here. I don't know if you're in the foster parent support group that I run, but we're all there to help you too. There's no really easy answer to tell you, Faith. You might get a set of kids that come in that you thought you could handle, and then as it starts to unfold, their trauma starts to come out, and you might feel ill prepared. And we'll be there for you. And I always humbly ask if you could kind of do your best to love them through it, and let's not turn them in right away. Let's work together. And but if it gets too much, I don't want you to have guilt either if it's too much and putting you at risk. So thank you. I'm so glad you wrote. We're so grateful for you. Thank you so much. So once you get the first child, the money's not going to come right away. The kids are going to show up with virtually nothing. Or Bruce, I don't know if you had this happen. I've had the kids come where there was lice and bugs and stuff inside your stuff, or it reeked of cigarettes and stuff.
Yeah, I've been through that. I actually had a teenage girl that came to us that was thrown out of her house because her mom was arrested, and she had a live-in boyfriend. So the live-in boyfriend, when the mom got arrested, he literally put a bag outside with a little bit of clothes and a note on the door that said, "Go away." So her and her brother actually wound up spending time in an abandoned garage in a house, maybe 10 houses down the street. And they were there fending off food and really didn't eat much for about 3 or 4 weeks when some of the neighbors picked up on it. And she actually came to my house, and she was 15 years old, and everybody says, "Oh, I'm worried about those older kids."
Yeah.
The best foster kid I ever had. She was.
That's a whole other topic for me.
Yeah.
It's so hard to keep these within a certain time frame, but
yeah.
Oh, you guys, the older kids get so left out, and they are so wonderful. They have
so good
much to give, and they want to belong, and they want to be loved, and they feel so scared that they're going to age out and have no one. And again, another topic, but please, please, please don't leave those older kids out. They're to be cherished. They really are to be cherished. Okay, so the other thing, we were talking about when they first call you.
Yes.
You're going to ask questions. Okay, so yeah, Bruce, you had good questions, okay? But
yes.
I will tell you from experience, they will tell you oftentimes, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know anything. I'm just dropping off. One of my last cases I had, they showed up at 2 a.m. and I'm asking all these questions, and she's like, yeah, so I really don't know anything. I'm just dropping her off. And that was all I had. That was it. Jessica Ormond, 4 years in and beyond the basics. I wish we had educated ourselves more on parenting kids from trauma. Wish I had connected with local support groups sooner. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You have us now.
Yes.
But right, it was hard, learning. I started it, I think I was 26, and I made mistakes. I didn't know a lot of things, and I've had to learn a lot. And that's why I think I'm so passionate about being here for you guys, because we've been there, Bruce and I both.
Yes.
And we're here to walk you through it. And that's why we're here tonight, to help you, so you feel supported. You can ask those questions. And even tonight, if you don't think of the right questions, or you can't think of something right now, but you think of it later, come back to the show and go in the comments, and I keep coming back and checking, and we can connect. could always connect with me here at Project Foster Care, leaving me a message, or and ask to join my foster parent support group too. But so with that said, yeah, you're not always going to, they're not always going to have an answer for you as far as what's going on with the kids. You're literally flying by the seat of your pants. And the one thing I was telling Bruce before we went on that we had to talk about was a little thing called buyer's remorse.
Yes.
And to explain that, and then Bruce can tell you too, it's when you pick up the child, and I know I've had it happen a handful of times, but you pick up the child and you look in the back seat as you're driving away, and your thought is, oh, sweet mama, what did I just do? Oh man, and your stomach's in knots and it's scary. And so, but that's okay. Give it some time. Totally normal. Totally normal. Matthew Doherty. Yes, he's coming on next week. Foster parents are by far the most loving on the planet. Oh, buddy, thank you. Actually, Matthew, he's going to be our guest next week.
Yes.
He's a former foster child, and now he is a fireman, and he's so precious. He came into our foster parent support group to thank us all, which tears me up, to thank us because he said foster parents are what turned his life around. So you'll want to come back next week to hear his story. Thank you, Matthew. Sweet guy. Bruce, what else would you say, when you bring them home?
Interestingly enough, I remember the very first child I got. She was about 12 or 13 years old. And I remember her coming to the door, and they said, oh, we're bringing her from the hospital. Well, now I'm already nervous. But it just turned out that it was her sister who had a problem, and they had her at the hospital. So they brought her and she walked up and she looked at me, and she was scared to death. And she said, I've never been in foster care before, and I'm really scared. And I said, well, I've never had a 12-year-old girl in my house before, and I'm just as scared as you are.
Aww. But
together, we're going to make this okay. We're going to make this okay. We're going to do what we have to do to make this okay. And, within 2-3 hours, she was eating well, and, we're watching Disney together, and just, she relaxed, and she was fine. She was fine, and was able to tell us the story of her sister and everything. But, you go through that, as you said, buyer's remorse, or that little bit of fear. Can I handle this? Can I take care of this situation? I think we all go through that.
Normal. It's normal. I mean, I think even when we brought our own kids home, we were like, oh, Lord, oh my goodness. So, I want, Rob, is it possible to pull up the photo?
Oh, yeah.
So I want to give you guys kind of a visual of what it looks like. So if you look here, when you get a foster child, these are all the people involved in their care. There's a legal team, you've got social workers, you've got doctors, you've got CASA, therapists. I had one child that had, I want to say 15 different, with their lawyer, the doctors, the therapists, the social workers, oh my Lord, their attorneys, and that was just for the one child. So you have all of these people. I mean, look, that's a lot for one child. So what if you took in the SIB group? That's even more people involved in that child. And this is where I always want to draw the attention and the focus and be grateful to the social workers. I know you guys hear a lot about the social workers and they're horrible and this and that, but I'm going to say, no, they're not. There's a lot more good ones than bad ones. A lot more. And I am also going to say that maybe even with the bad ones, they definitely didn't start out that way. I don't think anybody goes into this with a heart to hurt the children. If you look at this one child and all the people in this pie, you look at all that are involved, okay? The social worker can have an access to 30 cases, not 30 children. I'm saying 30 cases. And inside that case, one case could have 3 or 4 children. So what, Bruce, how many? It could be hundreds of people these social workers are dealing with.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that is very seldom mentioned is that same social worker also has to work with the bio family. So they're working with both sides at the same time, and which if you bring along 30 cases, you're talking about at least probably 60 adults that you have to work with and work, and it's not easy. They have a hard job. Absolutely.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you, Bruce, but Monica Riolfi, I hope I said that right. My husband and I have our first foster child. Not knowing what is going to happen with Case is terrifying. Had no idea I would fall in love so fast. Want to keep this child safe forever. Oh, that actually tears me up. I know it's hard. First of all, thank you. Thank you for loving them. Yes. And I know it's hard. I think this is, I'm actually so glad you wrote. We go in as foster parents, and I think a lot very blindly thinking or not really understanding the extent that the social services goes to for reunification. And I am so supportive of reunification when it's appropriate. Bruce, I was talking to you last night, I think, and I was saying that I had spoke with someone, a social worker of many years. She had a lot of brilliant things to say, but she did say one thing that broke my heart. Her words to me were, these children were born into what they were born into. Our job is to make it just good enough.
Yeah.
And I mean, it took my breath away.
Yeah,
what does good enough mean? Good enough for what?
One of the most difficult statements I've ever heard you say, actually, that was kind of heartbreaking to me, because most of us want to do way above and over for these kids. And to hear that it's just okay and it's just enough, it's just not acceptable. And I think when we have great foster parents, and there are so many great foster parents, and we don't talk enough about how many great ones there are. And I know that he's going to talk about it next week. When we have those great foster parents, they find ways to make this much better than what anybody could imagine. They do. They find their way.
Faith, can you put that back up, Rob? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to read everybody's comments, but Faith was saying in New Jersey, each social worker only has 15 cases. See, things like that, we need to be modeling that.
Absolutely.
In my opinion, and Bruce, I know you agree with me on this. I feel the social workers are abused.
Oh, absolutely. We've talked. You and I have talked about this.
Social workers are abused, and then they're supposed to make all of these decisions for the children. And at some point, they're so exhausted, they just want to be done already with at least one of the cases or something. And so they're gonna, they make choices maybe they didn't necessarily really want to, but it was just, they're just trying to keep it all together. So, but yes, falling in love with your foster child and knowing they're probably not gonna stay and you wanting to protect them forever, it's brutal. But I want to say this to you and to anybody else that's fostering and feeling these feelings or thinking of fostering. It is so hard. I know. But those children, and you don't want to get, everybody always says, I would get too attached. They need you to get too attached. They need you to fall desperately in love with them, because quite frankly, you might be the only person that ever does. And believe me when I tell you, that stays with them. They're going to remember what that love felt like. They're going to remember, and it's going to be with them and in their soul. You will always be able to pray for them or carry them in your heart and do the best that you can. But we just, unfortunately, you don't know if they're going to stay or not. But please don't let that stop you from falling madly in love. And the other thing I always say is, yes, it hurts. It hurts so bad. But if I have to hurt and cry and go into the fetal position when a child leaves, I'm going to do it, because I know why I'm crying and I know why I'm hurting. I'm hurting because they left. But when these kids come into care, they really do not know or understand or get it. So if I have to hurt for them to hurt less, I'm going to do it. So I hope that helps you. I really get it. Bruce, did you want to say anything to that?
Well, I first wanted to say tremendous on the part of New Jersey. Limiting.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. As a matter of fact, I've never heard that before. That is a first, because most of them are 25 to 35. So that's an amazing thing. I'm shocked, actually. I did not know New Jersey had it down to 15, and hopefully they passed a new law that put it that way.
We have Shantae Capita. Welcome, Shantae. I hope I'm saying your name right. It's beautiful. What if you want to adopt, but it seems like your agency is delaying the process? So Bruce, I'm going to let you touch on this too.
Sure.
It may seem like they're delaying the process. So I'm not sure your situation. To clarify, I'm not sure if you have had children in your home for a while and they keep extending their reunification, or if they've already severed the parental rights, but it seems like they're taking a while for the adoption to go through. A lot of times it's just, they just don't have time. And so it gets lagged and pushed back, and there's other court cases and so things get postponed. I'm not really sure about your case in particular. You're more than welcome to write me personally and give me a little more information. And I can try to help you in that end or understand it a little better. Bruce?
Yeah, I heard that question so many times. One of the things I used to be, I was a president of a foster parent association. So I got the questions constantly, daily. And that was probably one of the biggest questions I got continuously, that and on healthcare. People have to remember that within the case, until they are actually terminated, they're always working on reunification, or there are things within the courts that hold this off. And so the average time goes 18 months to 2 years. And that's not uncommon at all.
Not at all. It is a shame. It is a shame.
Yeah.
But also, one thing that I struggle with is the babies when they come into care, and the parents will have 6 months to get it together, and that final hour, like the last 30 days, they suddenly decide they're going to try, and then the parents get another 6 months to work on it again, and then in the meantime the child gets older and older, and it just kind of goes round and round, and those things break my heart. I struggle with those. I struggle with that a lot.
Yeah.
Especially with the babies, because they're bonding with their foster family. And I feel like, a lot of things, but when you're given 6 months and then you decide to pull it together the last couple weeks or 4 weeks or whatnot, I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me.
Common practice.
It's very common. And I got to say, I'm all about reunification, and I sure love those birth families, but sometimes, you know what? It's not about the birth family anymore. It's about what's best for those children. But it's the nature of the beast. So Darla Groff, if it doesn't hurt when they leave, I haven't done my job as a foster parent. You get it, Darla? Yes, that's right.
Exactly.
That's absolutely right. If you are not in fetal position, I always say that, like, if you're not bawling, then you didn't love the kid enough, and you're not doing your job right. That's right, Miss Darla. Thank you.
Absolutely.
We're running, we're at 35 minutes here. I don't like to make these too long. We could go on for the full hour, but I think in general, really, it's, Bruce, we've pretty much touched on the good stuff as far as when you first, how to become the foster parent. I don't know if anybody has any other questions about becoming a foster parent. We talked about buyer's remorse. I want to stress the importance of checking in on your family while you're being a foster parent. Do not take children in without consulting your spouse. Bruce?
Or
right?
your family, or the rest of the family. If you have children in the family, they need to know.
I've made some pretty desperate, some pretty big mistakes that I've kind of been unfolding recently. My children wanting to make me happy, didn't want to say anything, and I really needed to check in with them a little more and their feelings and what they were going through. Shantae Capita, the kids we have are leaving, and we want 2 new kids. Okay, got it. Okay, so they're going back to family, and you want to take in more. That's good.
Absolutely.
Take in more. So I think we're good. We touched on some really good things. Bruce is going to come back frequently. He's actually on my board here with Project Foster Care. He's literally, between him and Irene, we're a team. We call each other, talk about things, talk about topics, and they're just my go-to people that are full of knowledge. So Bruce, where would you like them to find you?
Yeah, I can give them an email address. They can also, I'm pretty well lit up on LinkedIn. So if you go on LinkedIn and type in my name, you'll find me for sure. But I can give you an email. Is that okay, Rob? Can we get that email? No, it's all right.
Yeah, he'll put it in the description. And then of course, you guys can always go to Project Foster Care, the Facebook page, or to the website, which is still being built. We're still working on the website. Bear with me. It's going to get done soon. Chris and I are working on that. But, and you'll be able to get in touch with Bruce. But please, you guys, if you have any questions and you want me to touch on them in the next show, the next program, let me know. We have lots of topics coming up, lots of things we're going to delve into. But next week, we have a former foster child, Matthew, who checked in with us. It's going to be joining us and sharing his story. And any of you considering being a foster parent, or any of you that are foster parents right now, and you might be wondering if you really matter, if it really made a difference, you will not want to miss next week. So make sure you tune in. We'll be back at our normal time next week. So 7 Pacific Standard Time. We just had a little scheduling conflict this week, but gosh, Bruce, I'm so grateful that you came.
I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to, as things unfold and we're getting this message out, as things unfold, we get to start on a lot of other topics, and it will be so interesting and so helpful. I think it's going to be tremendously helpful to a lot of people.
I really do. And guys, really, your questions matter. You taking a role in what we're doing and actively participating, it really, really does matter, because we might not be thinking the way you are and you have those questions. So grateful for you all being here. Make sure you find us on YouTube and subscribe, please. And would you guys please share? Share. It's so important to get the word out. So yes, I'm so glad you guys were all here. Thank you to my foster care warriors. And I always like to say that anybody tuning in tonight, anybody sharing this and just joining us, you are now a foster care warrior. 100% of people can become a foster care warrior. And we're so blessed to have you here tonight. Thank you for joining us. Until next week, we will see you then. Have a hope-filled week. Bye-bye.
Bye.